Hello, good evening to you. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on news up at Sawe Kanda, also live on Twitter and on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Ocansey. Tonight, United States Vice President Kamala Harris visits to Ghana, reignites conversation about where exactly Ghana stands in matters regarding the rights of persons who identify as LGBTQ+. Will the bill before Parliament to criminalize LGBTQ activities see the light of day? We're getting to that tonight. Stay with us. Also, this evening, we're getting to the matters of this latest canoe accident that has led to the death of some 8 persons. We'll give you an update on that here on Ghana Tonight. And the opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, attempts to regroup as former President John Mahama and the flag bearer hopeful intercede on behalf of the NDC MPs who betrayed the party in approving President Akufo-Addo's new ministerial nominees. But what are the real issues that need to be dealt with? Stay with us. We have a conversation with Ambassador Victor Smith. He joins us on Ghana Tonight. These and more. Stay with us here. Let's hear from you as always. We are very, very interactive on the issues that we're talking about on Facebook and Twitter. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs. Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, wants government of Ghana to pay extra attention to women empowerment, digital inclusion, and good governance at an event at the Black Star Square in Accra as part of her 3-day visit to Ghana. She insisted that is the only way to promote democracy.
Women around the world must be able to fully participate in economic, political, and social life. And they must be able to participate equally, including in leadership roles. It is a key to maximizing global growth and opportunity.
There's a call on the Speaker of Parliament to refer some MPs who openly recorded and showed how they voted for the ministerial nominees to the Privileges Committee. The minority has slammed the majority for such calls, daring the Speaker to annul the results of any MP.
To the best of my knowledge, the election was conducted in secrecy. If there is any evidence to suggest that it wasn't done in secrecy, what it means is that the results of the election is void. Could be null and void.
The Speaker of Parliament is this afternoon venting his anger at the Committee of Legal, Constitutional and Parliamentary Affairs to work expeditiously to have the anti-LGBTQ+ bill passed. Speaking at the breakfast meeting of the Parliamentary Christian Network, Abon Sumana Kingsford Bagbing also took a dig at the visiting U.S. Vice President over her comments on LGBTQ being a human right that must be respected.
The bill will be passed. This is the word to His Excellency the President. There is no way he can intervene. That answer he gave. That is now before Parliament. And when he gets to a stage that he will come in. Hey, please. This is legislation. This is not execution.
Cost of doing business is increasingly becoming challenging for the trading community following the consistent hike in policy rate and other economic factors. President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, says more businesses are at risk of collapse if the Parliament approves government's new tax proposals currently before Parliament.
We are not trading in isolation. We are trading with our neighbors. So if you keep on piling these taxes and all that we are succeeding to do is to break the backs of these businesses or simply collapse them.
Over 800 shops at the Kejetia market have been closed by management to allow for structural integrity test. This was after the technical team observed some cracks on the labs and beams. But the affected traders have forcefully opened the barricaded area to access their shops for trading activities. They say the conduct of the management of the market is unacceptable.
As we speak, 807 shops have been affected by the forced closure of unconcerned and unperturbed authorities. This is decidedly unacceptable.
The bill will be passed. This is the word to His Excellency the President. There is no way he can intervene. That answer he gave. That is now before Parliament. And when he gets to a stage that he will come in, hey, please. This is legislation. This is not execution.
That's the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumana Kingsford-Bagbin, there. He is disagreed with the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, and indeed the President, you heard him making reference to the President's comments on Ghana's position on LGBTQ plus issues. I'll play to you, as we go on the show, what the President said exactly and why this matter has come up. In fact, according to the Speaker of Parliament, the U.S. Vice President's assertion regarding the matter does not sit well with his conviction. He spoke in his capacity as Speaker. But if this matter goes before Parliament, remember the Speaker doesn't have a voting right. So it's still going to come down to the numbers, okay? And we've seen how the numbers game has played out in very interesting ways in this Parliament. And this is a crucial issue, okay? Now, Kamala Harris was asked about the development at the Jubilee House yesterday. She did not directly address the anti-gay bill in Ghana's parliament, but restated her stance on human rights violation against minorities, adding that her position remains unchanged. And in fact, this is it, right? Take a look at this. This is what she's quoted to have said, and we have that video played as we go on. I feel very strongly about the importance of supporting freedom and supporting the fighting for equality among all people, and that all people be treated equally. I will also say that this is an issue that we consider, and I consider to be a human rights issue. And that's the LGBTQ matter, and will not change, and that will not change. That's her stance, and indeed, it's a stance of the United States, because the ambassador herself as well, the U.S. ambassador to Ghana, has made a similar statement sometime in the last quarter of last year, 2022. So it's consistent with the U.S. and many other countries' position on this matter, I mean, in the West or Europe. Okay, then it brings up the question of how this human rights angle sits in our own culture, our beliefs, and our traditions as a country. And if we belong to a community of nations, and to the extent that now when our leaders mess up and they dissipate our resources, engage in all manner of acts that lead us into debt, they go cup in hand begging these same countries for help. Can our leaders have the mettle, the strength and the muscle to stand with our beliefs and our traditions if we go cup in hand begging, right? And these issues are brought before them, okay? These are the dynamics of this matter. But we're going to go down into memory lane to help us all understand why this issue is of great importance, and lots of you have been talking about it, okay? The person who's actually, or the former president who has been credited to have been explicitly clear on this matter is the late John Evans Atta Mills. Sometime in 2011, okay? November 2011. He's quoted and I said, "I, as president of this nation, I would never initiate or support any attempts to legalize homosexuality in Ghana." That's the late former president. Remember, when he made this statement, to be clear, there was no process in Parliament to actually enact a law to now make this issue of LGBTQ a criminal issue. Now we have, the dynamics are different. There's a process ongoing in Parliament. The former president, John Mahama, this statement was made by Mahama Yariga as information minister, representing the former president's position at the time. And this was in January 2013. The president is to execute the laws of Ghana, and the laws of Ghana are very clear on homosexuality. The laws of Ghana uphold and criminalize homosexuality. There is no dispute about that. That was the then Information Minister, Mahama Yariga, speaking on behalf of the president at the time, John Dramani Mahama. Okay. In fact, President Akufo-Addo, prior to this anti-LGBTQ bill in Parliament, sponsored by a number of MPs, including Sam George, was also quite consistent about a number of his position until this, that he is now being seen as giving politically correct answers. We have a video of what President Akufo-Addo said in 2021 when he was asked this question. In fact, he was given a speech. He reiterated his position on this. Let's recall that video, okay? Just so that our viewers would know that we don't forget too quickly. Take a look.
I've said this before, and let me in conclusion stress again that it will not be under the presidency of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo that same-sex marriage will be legal. That same-sex marriage will be legalized in Ghana. It will never happen in my time as president. Let me repeat, it will never happen in my time as president.
That statement he repeated. He had to repeat for the sake of emphasis. This was on the 27th of February, 2021, when he stated emphatically that same-sex marriage will not be legalized under his watch as president. He was speaking at the installation of the second Archbishop of the Anglican Church of Ghana, Asante Mampong, in the Ashanti region. Okay? So, bear this in mind. Okay? We'll play this video again for the sake of emphasis, but stay with me. After this quick break, we'll be back. Bishop S.N. Mensah, the former president of the Full Gospel Church International, is going to be joining us to have a conversation on this and more. Also, Ambassador Victor Smith would also join us on the NDC matters. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Win your share of over 3 million Ghana cedis worth of prizes whenever you buy a bottle of Guinness, Star, or Origin. Dial *1000# to submit the code under the crown, and you can win cash, free airtime, and drinks. So look sharp. This advert is FDA approved. Drink responsibly, not for sale to persons under the age of 18 years. Not recommended for pregnant women.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
At long last, Blue Jays Vodka makes a bar market. Blue Jays Vodka makes Numbi a fine.
Look, the guys are chilling Can we join you guys? We are all single. Yeah.
Blue Jays Vodka Mix, and we are dead, and we are ham. Feeling warm. Enjoy the unique taste of Blue Jays Vodka Mix. Blue Jays Vodka Mix, Numbi, fine.
Blue Jays Vodka Mix. Blue Jays Vodka Mix.
Numuni Nyansem, one ton money pa one in fear don't watch it. And says up in for no.
You are a major stakeholder in nation building. Your voice matters. Start your day with us.
We simplify the conversations, we break down the jargons and technicalities. We keep you well informed throughout the week. Start your day with us.
Knowledge is power. We put you in the know of the happenings in Ghana and the world over. The main reason why you need to start your day with us.
We give the leaders the mandate to govern our affairs. We have a responsibility to hold them to account. It begins here. Start your day with us. Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Start your day well informed. Start with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Catch the all-new Sunrise Morning Show with me, Johnny Hughes, Helen Apiampofo, William Asiedu,
and Noble Crosby Allen.
Weekdays from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on 3FM 92.7. Your urban lifestyle radio.
I've said this before, and let me in conclusion stress again that it will not be under the presidency of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo that same-sex marriage will be legal. That same-sex marriage will be legalized in Ghana. It will never happen in my time as president. Let me repeat, it will never happen in my time as president.
Well, so that's President Akufo-Addo in 2021. Okay, this is not too long ago. So, yes, we have memory. But the late John Evans Mills is also on record to have made a statement. We recall that video as well. That statement he made in 2011. Take a look at that.
I, as president of this nation, will never initiate or support any attempts to legalize homosexuality in Ghana. As a government, we will abide by the principles enshrined in our constitution, which constitution is supreme. Let me also say that whilst we acknowledge all the financial assistance and all the aid which has been given to us by our development partners, we will not accept any aid with strings attached if that aid will not inure to our interest, or the implementation or the utilization of that aid with strings attached would rather worsen our plight as a nation or destroy the very society that we want to use the money to improve.
So that's the late John Evans Mills. In fact, saying that we're going to reject money with such conditionalities. Now we need money. We are all over the place looking for money. Would you trust leadership to make such a statement that we're going to reject any money with such conditionalities in the situation that we find ourselves in? And if we continue to mismanage our resources and we go cup in hand begging, Are we going to continue to be able to have the strength to represent the values and traditions that we talk about? Okay, so remember 2021, the stance of the president. And now there's a process going on in Parliament to have a bill passed into law or otherwise. Let's go on to Zoom now, and we'll recall what the president said on Monday, that was yesterday, in response to this question that was asked by a journalist. Bishop S.N. Mensah is a former National Executive Committee member of the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Churches, and then also a member of the Apostolic Fathers of the Apostolic Fellowship, the former president of the Full Gospel Church International. Thank you so much, Bishop S.N. Mensah, for your time on Ghana Tonight. And this issue keeps coming up every now and then. I mean, is it just the lack of the explicit statement on the part of our leaders, or in this case, we ourselves have not been very clear in putting out loudly the values as we uphold as a country?
Thank you very much, Alfred. I think, one, in the first place, we haven't declared our stand very well when it comes to our national values. In the first place, we don't seem to have a well-defined national values that really, you and I, if they should ask us, what are our basic 5 or 10 national values? No one will be able to, or we can hardly find it difficult to put together what we will all have come to a common agreement that these are our national values. However, there are one or two of them that is common to all when it comes to our culture, our religion, and our traditional beliefs over the many years. That the issue of the LGBTQ, plus, relationship of same-sex marriage, it's a no-go area based upon our culture, our religion. These are the things that have defined who we are, one as Africans, two as Ghanaians. And so that alone, I would say by and large, 90% or a large number of Ghanaians, 90% of the society accept that is who we are. When it comes to Christianity, it's about 70% by the last population census of 2020. The Muslim faith is about 16, 17% traditional belief. So if you put them together, we're over 90% in terms of the faith, based organizations in the nation. So by and large, we represent, the culture of the people as individuals. And I think when it comes to that, I would say, Alfred, we have a stake on that. But now the question is, why is it that perhaps the president may be finding it difficult to make it so, or to state what we represent? Literally speaking, the president should represent the culture of the people, must represent the beliefs of the people, must represent the values of the people. So when I find the president, or you see any president, he must be the embodiment, one, of the belief, the faith, or the culture, especially the belief and the values of the society. The president must be an embodiment of it.
I see. Bishop, so if you've been watching, you saw that video I just played of the late J.E. Mills, his clear position on this, and then what the president said in 2021 in church about his position as president on this matter, that it is not going to be under his watch and during his presidency that this is going to be legalized as a country. So are you also going to join in many who describe his position now and the statement he's making now as politically correct?
I think definitely the president knew there was going to be a question to this regard. Even the ordinary Ghanaian knew that. Once Kamala was coming in and representing what she represents, being the vice president of the USA, obviously the average Ghanaian was aware. And knowing exactly what has happened in other countries like Kenya, Uganda, and some of the places that the U.S. have gone to, and then the aftermath of it, obviously society was definitely aware. And so, but I think the president decided to be a little bit more diplomatic and to be politically correct in his response. He could have stood on his values and say it as it is, that listen, this is what we stand for. It is in parliament, but it represents by and large the entire population it represents the values of the entire population, or the majority of the population. Unfortunately, he couldn't stand firm on his feet, but he was being diplomatic in his response. That is what I observed from what the answer he gave. It wasn't very firm. It was as if it was an evasive approach. But well, would you hold him responsible for this? We can only hold him responsible if the bill comes out and then he refuses to assent to that.
But to be fair, I mean, with the video that I played, he was explicitly clear, was he not? Some 3 years ago, I'm sorry, 2 years ago. And then what he's saying now, would you also say is because of what's happening in Parliament? When he made this statement in 2021, there was no process to now put a legal basis to our objection or rejection of this practice. And so now he has to say this, being minded of what's happening in Parliament? Or you also expected that regardless of what's happening in Parliament, because you expect him to be the embodiment of the people, he should have been explicitly clear?
Well, I think it's not a matter of Ghana is against it. He could express that people are governed by their values and their culture. Europeans have their culture, Americans have their culture and their values. And therefore, this is one of the values and the culture of our society. It is actually going through Parliament, and let's wait and see what, at the end of the day, Parliament is going to say on this subject. But as of now, majority of our society do not really entertain same-sex marriage. That is who we are. That is what we stand for. Beyond that, the president is a believer, a Christian. And so we will assume that he believes in that principle. I'm not talking of the polarized Christian concept, what we are seeing in Europe, and some churches are promoting that. But for where we stand, he believes in these values also. So he could have expressed himself along that line. But wait, like I'm saying, he wanted to be diplomatic in the approach. And I think we should just accept it as it is now. And let's just see what Parliament is definitely going to do. Remember, Parliament don't represent themselves. They represent the aspirations and the values and the culture of the people. Parliamentarians are coming from the society, from the people. And so they are not only riding on the ticket of their political parties, but they are also they are representing the people. And so the society is just going to see how they are going to handle this subject.
In fact, you talk about Parliament being a representation of the people. Now, just take a quick recall on this. What the president said yesterday in response to that question, which you say it was inevitable, he had to answer. Take a look.
The bill is going through the Parliament. It's going through the Parliament. The Attorney General has found it necessary to speak to the committee about it regarding the constitutionality or otherwise of several of its provisions, and the Parliament is dealing with it. At the end of the process, I will come in. But in the meantime, the Parliament is dealing with it. And I have no doubt that the Parliament of Ghana will show, as it's done in the past, first of all, its sensitivity to human rights issues, as well as to the feelings of our population, and will come out with a responsible response.
So, you see, the president is clear on this. Now, the ball is in the court of Parliament. And in fact, the Speaker of Parliament has made it clear that, president should bear his boundaries as well in mind when he's making statements on this matter, because now it is within his court as the head of the legislative arm of government. What's your expectation of Parliament on this?
Well, I think, like the president said, he's observing what Parliament is going to do. So we will all join the president to not only to observe, but also to make our voices known and also share our thoughts through the various, of, you know, civil society organizations that they have done that already, through the faith-based organizations that they have done that already. So they are just not going to be quiet on that. But whilst Parliament is debating, then they will also add their voice to encourage them that let's do what has to be done, but respect the rights of the people, whilst we promote, whilst they consider the bill. So I guess it's a matter of just following what the Parliament is going to do. The Speaker, I think today, being the 28th of March, 2023, the Speaker has expressed his position on the subject matter, and that he is going to ensure that this thing is going to be handled by Parliament, and it will be ready for the president's, final signature.
We'll see how things play out, and we understand this bill will also be a subject of conversation before the end of the week. Thank you, Bishop S.N. Mensah. Thank you so much for your time on Ghana Tonight. A former executive member of the Ghana Pentecostal Council, and then also a member of the Apostolic Fathers of the Apostolic Fellowship, former president of the Full Gospel Church International, Bishop Samuel N. Mensah. Thank you. Let's stay in Parliament a bit, shall we? There's a development there about the decriminalizing of the law that makes the attempted suicide indeed illegal or criminalized. What's happened now is that the Parliament of Ghana has decriminalized attempted suicide. Well, in the coming days, we're going to get a bit more into this because it's a major development. But former President John Mahama has called on the rank and file of the NDC to disregard any list of the party's members of parliament who are purported to have voted for the approval of the new ministers appointed by President Akufo-Addo. The former president, who's seeking re-election as the flag bearer of the party, had a few things to share with us on when he was addressing delegates earlier today. Take a look. But, well, let's go on to Zoom now, and we'll recall a quick statement that Kweku Rickett Hagan, MP for Cape Coast South, made on this. But Ambassador Victor Smith is the former Ghana High Commissioner to the UK and also a stalwart of the NDC. Thank you so much for joining us on Zoom, Ambassador Victor Smith. So we found out your also reactions on what happened on Friday. Some have expressed surprise. Others also say it's a sellout, it's a betrayal or a sabotage of the new leadership. What's your take?
Well, these are adults, so they are not children. That the chairman can go there, he can speak to leadership. We can go from one seat to the other, talk to people, human beings. You don't know what's in their head. Why they did it, they have to come out. Those who did it, if they are bold enough to come out and tell the people of Ghana, we believe we did the right thing, and this is why. But of course, they're not bold enough. They know they've done the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. They know they haven't done well for this country, and that's the disappointment that I'm talking about. They've actually failed this country.
I see.
By supporting the president's, if you like, wrong move that would not help our economy.
Right. I'm going to ask that you put your video on, please, because we're not getting the connection with you. But I was asking earlier about the description of what happened on Friday. Many have put sabotage, breaking ranks, and all. For you, observing what happened on Friday, regardless of what the party had told the MPs to do, what's your take on it?
Well, not really surprised, disappointed, because we all knew that there had been caucus meetings and there had been efforts to get our members to vote in a particular way in the interest of our country, our country's economy recovering, cutting down on costs by government. We all knew about this situation before it went wrong. So on Friday, we were disappointed that we didn't get the numbers from our people, our members. When there's a secret vote and people cannot see what others vote, people can do mischief and do other things. What happened was unfortunate and very disappointing. That our party expected that we will send a certain signal on behalf of the people of Ghana to the government that we needed to cut costs. We needed to save our country from total collapse because the economy will, as we all know, and the world over, we are in distress. It's a collapsed economy. Finance minister is all over the place. And if we have to do something to send a certain signal to government to stop the decay, and some of our members decided to join the government to vote the wrong way, we're disappointed.
I see. And well,
Ghana
listening to a number of people, you are not alone in this, this feeling of disappointment. In fact, the Cape Coast South Member of Parliament, Kweku Hagan, on this same issue, on this network, gave a number of reasons for what happened. One of the issues they talked about was the relationship that some current MPs have with the previous leadership, which may have also influenced how things played out as well and how they voted. And that if this current leadership had succeeded in this, it would have been an indictment on the previous leadership. But I wanted you to take a listen to him on this matter. Take a listen to George Kweku Hagan.
Number two is to do with greed.
Greed?
Yes, on the part of some of our MPs.
NDC MPs?
NDC MPs, yes. There are some people who don't see the collective interests of what we are trying to achieve as a party, and that they are more interested in themselves making money as quick as they can.
So what you're saying is that some NDC MPs were bribed, they took money?
Absolutely, no doubt.
It's quite clear on this matter. Ambassador Victor Smith.
Well, I don't doubt it that there are those who had their own grievances, and why they didn't bring it up during the caucus meetings and the meetings with the former president in trying to map out a strategy for the party to help this country. They decided to keep quiet over it, go in there and vote the wrong way. And if they feel proud within themselves, but they are not bold enough to tell the people of Ghana that we did it in your interest. Obviously, they didn't do it in the interest of our country. They have failed Ghanaians, those who did what they did. They should be ashamed of themselves. The party must move forward. We must continue with our programs to prepare for the 2024 elections. Some have failed us by what they did, but it's not over. The party needs to do some work, soul searching, and figure out what not to do or what to do next, which would not bring about such a development in the future.
Oh, but you see, this issue of bribery, which Ricky Hagan talks about, I mean, if there's anything to go by, that's serious to say the least, because regardless of the party elders and leaders and even the former president meeting these MPs before the day of voting to talk to them and sort of like get an undertaking from them, it did not prevent them from allegedly, according to Ricky Hagan, being compromised with money. That should be concerning to you.
Well, it is. These reasons are being put out by, various, different kinds of people, giving their reasons for what could have possibly brought about this development. Yes, it's possible. I mean, this corruption business, using money to influence outcomes in the House, it just didn't happen. Even before 2021, it's been there. I mean, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Babbing, once said that we all take bribes. That is, those in Parliament. It's documented. Everybody knows about it. That it exists in Parliament, and therefore it's not a new thing that people use. But we don't know why those 38 or so people voted the way they voted, whether it was influence of money, whether they were angry with the changes that took place in leadership, or some other reason. What is important is that they've done the wrong thing against the people of Ghana. Corruption is pervasive in our country. It's gradually becoming like a culture of this country and elsewhere. But let's talk about our country. Corruption is getting roots in our country, and we must do something positive against this. We set up, this government came up with the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and yesterday they fought against where the corruption was being exposed. The president was covering up for people and fighting the special prosecutor, the last one before this one. So if we don't do something drastically in this country against corruption, now appointments, people have been influenced by money to approve appointments. In the past, 2021, we all know what Howard Ocansey said then. She said, they said they wanted something small, so we gave them something small. She teased, but it was a very serious matter. I sat in my home very upset. Why leadership at that time did not haul her before the speaker to prove and to tell us who took money from her before the approval was done. Nobody felt the need for that. And this country needs to wake up to tackle these issues seriously. Otherwise, our leadership is just wasting everybody's time. Leadership, it doesn't matter which party is in power. We need to really crack the whip to minimize the constant influence of money in our body politic, in elections, everywhere. It's happening, and we need to do something about it.
So you were expecting the previous leadership, that's the Haruna Idrisu-led leadership, to, for instance, petition the speaker on this statement that you made reference to Howard Ocansey to have made?
Very much so. I mean, they were the leadership. She made a categorical accusation, okay, against the party that, and Infante, she said, almost something like that, and we'll find something for them or something like that. That is disgraceful. So why did we keep quiet about it? Was it a confirmation that it was true that they found something for them before they approved her? I mean, this is very serious. Everybody swept it under the carpet and they're going forward as if nothing serious has happened in this country.
That, see, these issues, this is not the first time that these allegations of NDC MPs being compromised with money has come up. In 2021, when the party directed that the MPs, the same MPs in this 8th Parliament, should take a certain position because of their numerical representation about the approval of certain ministerial nominees. Same situation with Kojo Nkrumah, Howard Ocansey, and then their former Greek minister, Dr. Koto Friye. There was this allegation as well that came up. And then we're having it now again. That, for you as a stalwart of the party, it's not concerning that consistently the MPs in Parliament, NDC, are being accused of this?
I said to you, the Right Honorable Speaker once said, we all take bribes. He referred to Parliament, not just NDC. So it is something that we need to tackle. It's becoming ingrained. It's becoming a culture. Committees sit, according to him, and there's money influence in decisions and or outcomes. Yes, I can talk for NDC, but I want to talk for Ghana because this corruption thing must be tackled and tackled seriously. And if it's happening in the legislature, in the judiciary, as we heard from, in the past, from other investigations and other surveys, the police, the executive, it's becoming extremely pervasive, and it's going to destroy this country one day when we have no money to live on.
Now, but the former president, as I indicated earlier, is asking the party to forge ahead, move on, and regroup for the task ahead, as in 2024. Now, how should that be done also alongside putting measures in place to ensure that this situation doesn't happen again where the party directs and the MPs do otherwise?
I would have wished that we didn't do a secret voting and that we had done the whip system where, you sort of vote and show it to your neighbor. Maybe they would have done the right thing for, in line with the party's position. But because it was a secret ballot, secret voting, it was difficult. And still, even though they will conduct an investigation as to why things went the way they went, they probably will not find the culprits, except on suspicion. And we don't need to even know the culprits. I mean, what are we going to do to them? They voted their conscience. But what we need to do is to prevent it in the future if a party takes a position, especially if that position is to favor Ghanaian, to favor our country, to save our country from, imminent collapse. If we can, the Right Honorable Speaker could ask for that type of thing. But however, he asked for the secret vote, and it was done, and some people went against our party position. Very unfortunate. They should be ashamed of themselves, bow their heads in shame. And if they think they shouldn't bow their heads in shame, they should come out and speak and said, I voted for the approval, and these were my reasons. As a human being, his right is entitled to speak his mind. But you see, they went to a caucus thing. They didn't abstain or say that we will not vote or we will vote, but we will vote in favor of the government's ministerial appointees or nominees. But they have done it, and there's no way that anybody is bold enough out of the 38 people to come and say, we voted this way or that way. So we need to, in future, find ways of ensuring that the right thing is done for our good country, Ghana, not for a parochial interest.
Well, Ambassador Smith, thank you. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much on this. We'll see how the coming days will play out on this particular issue, and some development in Parliament as well, where some MPs are asking that some people be dragged before the Privileges Committee. But Ambassador Victor Smith, former Ghana High Commissioner to the UK, and then also a member of the NDC. This is Ghana Tonight. At least 8 persons have been confirmed dead in a canoe accident in the Oti region. A total of 11 persons were on board the canoe when the unfortunate incident happened yesterday, March 27, out of which 8 have lost their lives. What we're learning from the assemblyman of the Woringa electoral area, all the bodies have been found after a recovery mission carried out earlier. This comes weeks after a similar incident. This time, a boat accident claimed several lives at Azizanya in Adam, and it's raised serious concerns about what is happening with safety on our waters, transportation. But take a look at this. These are some of the canoe accidents, at least for this year, 2023. On the 24th of January, 2023, 8 pupils from the Atikagome community in the Sene East district of the Bono East region lost their lives when a boat they were traveling on to school capsized on the Volta Lake. The 8 were amongst 20 pupils who were traveling from Atikagome to Wayokope. Take a look at the next one as well. On the 18th of March this year, 5 people were reported dead, and that's Azizakwe in Dada East District of the Greater Accra region. Then the next one. Okay. Today, what we are reporting. So there's been some consistency on this. And my colleague Christopher Amuakon is our OT and Northern Regional Correspondent. He's connecting with us. Chris, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on Ghana Tonight. Now, we understand this boat is originally to take 8 people, but there were 16 people on board, correct?
Yes, initially we were told that there were 11, but we understand later that there were more than 11 people on board the canoe.
I see. So what's the latest to this? I know you've been speaking to the assemblyman for the area. So after the recovery of the bodies, what next?
Yes, so after the recovery of the bodies were all buried earlier today, and the canoe operator who actually was paddling the canoe to the other side of the river when the unfortunate incident occurred was invited by police to come to the police station to help them in their investigations. So he was at the police station to report per the calling of the police, and they interrogated him. As of now, we cannot confirm whether he was led to go home or he's still in with the police. But what we do know is that he actually was invited by the police to come and answer some questions.
He was invited by the police. I see. And so in terms of the dependence of the people on these the boat for traveling, tell me how crucial this is for them in this area.
Yes, so Alfred, let me first of all state that both or canoe transport, water transport in the OT, northern and savannah and some parts of the northeast region is not a strange thing, because if you go to the OT region, I must say, Alfred, that almost all the communities are interconnected with water. So if you are moving to community A to community B, there's the likelihood that even if there is a road, before the end of the journey, you may have to cross the OT River before you get to the other side. It also could be the Volta Lake. So these are the dynamics in these areas. So to get access to the next community, if you are attending a funeral, if you are attending a wedding, if you are attending an outdooring, these are the only means of transport. Is it that you go by the normal canoe, which usually should take about 6, 7, 8 people, and it has to be pedaled by someone, or you resort to the boat, which is a bigger version of the canoe. That is if the numbers are bigger. And usually with the boats, they use it to transact business. So for them, traveling in these boats or canoes is not a new thing to them, because that is the only way they can connect to their relatives who live at the other side of the river.
And the videos we are showing you are live videos of what's happening in that community where, unfortunately, 8 people died. So the night videos you're seeing there is what's happening there right now. And let's action. Christopher, stay with me. And we have Gold Armstrong Alogbe, also my colleague here at Media General, connecting with us. Armstrong, just about a week ago, you were in the Adan East area, where some 5 people lost their lives as well there. Now, tell me what they told you about the level of risk they have to deal with every day traveling on the Volta Lake.
Yeah, Alfred. So this issue of boats capsizing on the Volta River, I mean, one man told us that it's something that happens every day. Just that we only get to hear of it when there's a prominent person or somebody manages to take a picture or a video and share on social media. If not, like what even happened in Adan last Saturday, we wouldn't have heard of it. One young man, he calls himself Reverend, told me, Abuonge Paroda, like what it means is that they die
every
on
day.
the Buta River every day, just that they don't report it. So this is not anything new. This is not anything new. So why are we making this in a huge case? And he said this to me when we go to court that's somewhere last week when the guy in connection with that boat accident that occurred on Azanpe was sent to court, and then they were all there to sympathize with him. And then whilst we were just having this normal conversation, he said this to me, and then quickly two of his family members came and were like, do you know who this guy is? He's a journalist and he's here to do investigations, so stop talking just anyhow. And then they just
unfortunately, we have a connection hitch with Armstrong, but we have videos of what happened in Azizanya just about a week ago, what Armstrong is talking about. We're going to play it while we go on. Yes, Armstrong, you were making a point. I just want to find out, what's the state of the use of the life jackets in the area? Are they available and people refusing to use it from what you saw?
After the use of the life jacket, it's going to be very difficult for people there to use it because they tell me that they live at the riverside and then they can swim. So asking them to wear life jackets is more or less like telling them to do something that they don't want to do. They can swim, but for people like us that we are new, they are saying that if they want the life jacketing to be enforced, then it should be given to people like us that we are new to the riverside. But then I also found out that people that live at Azizanya, for instance, ladies, I mean, women are not allowed to swim in the Volta River over there. They are not allowed to do anything along the Volta River because they are considered to be unclean. I mean, when the ladies said this to me, I was a little bit surprised. So I proceeded to the chief's palace to find out. And then the man who says he's in charge of installing chiefs confirmed to me that yes, that's what happens over there. They don't allow women to swim on the river bank because when they turn 16 years plus, they do things that they consider to be unclean. So that's what probably can explain why all the people that lost their life on that Saturday happens to be women. And the women were saying that it's about time that they allow them at least learn how to swim along the riverside. And then also about the teachers that travel from the main community, Big Adan, Downfall to the islands to go and teach. You realize that the life jacket given to them is not safe. I'm told the life jacket is just a toy life jacket. Others have described it as just for fashion. And I've been doing some investigation for some time now, and at the appropriate time, I'm sure we're able to come and say to the entire public what the life jacket that has been given to the teachers by the Ghana Education Service, what it is. Some people have already confirmed to me that that life jacket is not correct, and it's just for babies who goes to the swimming pool to swim. But for you to travel on the Volta River, you need a proper life jacket, and not what has been given to the teachers that travel on the Volta River to schools every day.
Armstrong, thank you so much for this great work you're doing over there. And Chris as well, so it's still the authorities not doing what is expected. That's giving this room for these things to be happening, correct? In 30 seconds.
Yes, Alfred, basically so, because if you talk about the life jacket that Armstrong has mentioned, it's very serious issue. The people along the Oti River and the Volta Lake do not even want to associate themselves with the life jackets. They feel like if you're a stranger and you are crossing, that is where you have to use the life jackets. And I must say, Alfred, that there are no life jackets even available for them to use. Even though when you said they will not use, there are not even available for them to use. Maybe it's about time we begin to do serious education into this matter to ensure that it's not just about you wanting to use it, it's a must for you to use.
Thank you so much, Christopher Marco, and these two gentlemen. Appreciate your time on Ghana Tonight, OT Northern Savannah Regional Correspondent. And so to you, Gold Armstrong Alogbe, a reporter here at TV3. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on Ghana Tonight. Well, that's how We end the show. On behalf of the rest of the team, thank you for staying with us. Join us same time tomorrow. I am Alfred Ocansey. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.